Zion, what was your main takeaways from what Zion had to say? Talking for the first time in so long.
Well, obviously the big one was the declaration that he would sign the extension, right? I mean, obviously there's been so much talk about him, whether or not he would.
Can you real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you say exactly what he was asked? You may not have it in front of you, but can you say what he was asked and then what he said? Because I think
it is very simple. Will you sign the extension if offered? That was the key part of that. The question is if offered. And his answer was, of course, I couldn't sign it fast enough. So he made it clear that is what he would want to sign. We talked to David Griffin, shortly after that, and Griff made it a point to say, those discussions are going to be a challenge. That was the word that he used. I don't think it's going to be a simple negotiation when July 1st hits, because of the fact that he's only played 85 games in 3 seasons. So, but that was kind of the biggest thing that I took away. He kind of danced around some other things that we asked him in terms of, is the foot healthy or anything like that. But he seemed like his upbeat self. That's what he has been when he has talked to the media. When we have seen him around the team this year, he has looked to be, enjoying his teammates, especially in the last 2 months since he got back from Portland, from doing his rehab up there. He's looked like he's bought in, at least to the team side. I know, one of the things he had a lot of praise for Willie Green, who is now his third head coach in 3 years in the NBA. Really his 5th head coach in 5 years when you think about it.
He's never played for Willie.
Yeah, and he's
never even seen him practice.
So that he had a lot of praise for Willie, and I think he seemed to be excited in that moment. But when it comes to Z, it's more like what can you actually show me instead of what can you say. So that's where I'd like to see where this next step goes.
Spears, before we talk about the extension, you've been around the league a long time. You've seen a lot of players. You've seen a lot of players go through a lot of things. Zion's situation is pretty unique. What did you think about what he had to say and didn't have to say when he finally spoke?
Well, I think in New Orleans, man, there was probably a big breath of relief, right? This is a franchise that Chris Paul left, understandably so, when the ownership situation was in disarray. Anthony Davis walked out and had wore a shirt that said, "That's all, folks," which still bothers my mother. She's still upset about that. And the city of New Orleans is so upset about that after the last hurricane they had of note, I went into a grocery store and everything was gone except for Anthony Davis, ruffles. Those were the only thing that even in tragedy, people refuse to eat, right? Drew Holiday quietly, in a very professional way, asked out and got his wish. And I'm sure now that, I heard a lot of people come up to me and say, "Man, thanks for talking to CJ." And I'm like, "Thank me, thank him." CJ is the one that says, CJ McCollum's the one that says he wants to finish his career there. And it just made the people there feel so good, because there's always been this exodus of superstars. And one thing I like about what CJ said is that he actually has gotten to know what the city was like, instead of being like most NBA players that come through to just sit in their hotel and order some gumbo from room service. And he's fallen in love with the city. He wants to finish his career there. But I think ultimately hearing Zion say that was music to their ears in New Orleans because of the past. And I think CJ and Willie Green are the reason why. CJ is the big brother that Zion needed in the locker room. I remember, and I know I'm going on a tangent here, Brian, but Melo's rookie year, Kiki Vanderway was thinking about getting LaFonso Ellis just so he could be there for Melo in the locker room, and he didn't. Years later, Melo told me he wished that was the case. So now CJ is a guy a vet who's been there, who could hold Zion accountable. And then Willie I mean, these players seem to love him and want to run through the locker room for him. So I wonder if you guys would have asked Zion that question in December, would he have felt the same way? If you asked him that in Portland, would he have felt the same way? But I think now that he sees how cool this environment is, how great it's being coached, he got a big brother in CJ. Like, why would he not want to be part of that?
Well, I'm not sure it's as simple, though, because he said he'd sign the extension, but I don't know what extension is. I mean, they're going to offer him an extension, I would assume, right, Andrew? He will be offered something.
Yes.
But and this is with all due respect to Zion, at some point he's got to play, man. Like we can't just keep putting him on this pedestal for one season for potential, right? Yeah. I mean, like they treat him with such kid gloves because of the potential, but they did really well without him.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I wonder if it's and Andrew can handle this more than me. Like, I really wonder what the guys in the locker room thought about the cloud of his situation.
Well, I do think that that's something that contributed to the 1-12 start, the 3-16 start. At that time, you remember it was, we hope to have him back for opening day. And then it was, okay, well, it's 2 weeks for scanning. And then it's 2 more weeks. And I think there was this kind of, when is Z going to come back? I don't want to say save the team, but like, when is he going to come back, add his 27 and 7 to the lineup, and we're going to take off? And I don't think it was until early December when maybe everybody involved was like, all right, maybe he's not walking through that door.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.